Horror Vibes Coffee in Las Vegas. A bit of scary fun in your coffee cup. I hate to say it, and I'm sure some will disagree, but Las Vegas just does not have the same coffee culture that some other cities have. You might point out that the cities that have the claim for the best coffee culture are all, well, slightly cooler. Some poor misinformed people think that coffee and 120-degree weather do not go together. I disagree, and then I also point you towards a place like Horror Vibes Coffee. Horror Vibes Coffee is doing two things right that makes them a standout coffee spot and to break the monopoly of bad franchise coffee shops that dominate Las Vegas. Firstly, they have a theme. Now, I already hear some people say that good coffee does not need a theme, and I disagree. We live in Las Vegas, the home of themes and glam and glitter. When people talk about why Vegas is in trouble, they talk about the economy and prices. And what they really should be talking about is the fact that Vegas has become boring. All the cookie cutter casinos built in the last 20, 30 years that could exist in any city of the world. Why would you then want to come to Vegas? When I look at the giant new guitar taking shape on the strip, I think, finally, someone has vision again. And therefore, I voted with my feet and drove all the way across the valley to go support Horror Vibe Coffee. The second thing they get right, you can see by looking at their menu. See all those blue dots? That means that in 120 degrees weather outside, you can have an iced version. In fact, there are more iced versions than hot version. And on a totally aesthetic note, the iced versions in their see-through cups are so much prettier. Now, some of you party poopers might point out that Horror Vibes Coffee is in fact a chain. The Las Vegas location is in fact their second location. And to you I say, you got me. And can we please have more chains like this one, rather than the ones I won't name but you can find on just about every second street corner? I love coffee, but I am the world's worst coffee advocate and aficionado. I almost always just drink coffee at home. And I won't explain how I make my coffee at home, but let's just say that since my kettle died, it actually involves a microwave. When I go to a coffee shop, I just want basic, strong coffee with some milk and sugar, please. I don't want to have to figure out fancy names, fancy description. So I almost cried when one of the options were regular or large drip coffee. Not that that is what I got, but I really loved that that was an option, and I will be getting it every time I am in the area. But since I did drive all the way across the valley, I decided to get a signature often. I really wanted a hot work of art, but they don't come in hot. And I will be going back to get a cold version once it warms up a bit. I can't believe I just said that out loud in Vegas. I'm sorry, weather gods, this is not a challenge. That is an acknowledgement that you will, at the correct time, send us hot. Hopefully not too hot weather. My friend, who doesn't do coffee, actually had several tea options at a coffee shop. Not just classic, but different signature tea options, if you count the children's option too. Can I just add that I would happily enjoy all of the kids' options? In fact, we looked at the kids' options before we looked at any of the other options. The Neapolitan of milk drinks, strawberry, chocolate, and white. I ended up getting a Candyman, and I have to admit, it was a really good cup of coffee. Yes, it was sweet, but they don't try to hide that. But it was much more than just sweet. I could taste that there was so much more to it, while still tasting coffee. This, by the way, is why I often don't like specialty coffee. Often everything else is so overwhelming that you can't taste the coffee. Here, the coffee was the main star with a lot of other added flavors. The locals knows, and they know the way to take back Las Vegas from boring is to support the interesting and fun themed spots all over the city. And thus, horror coffee vibes should really be added to your list.